They say life is what you make it. Well, Alex and Emily, that was us, build ours from scratch. I thought we were rock solid, unbreakable. But sometimes, the cracks appear long before you notice them. Emily and I met at a mutual friends party in Manchester when we were in our early 20s. I was working in sales at the time, trying to climb the ladder, while she was finishing her degree in communications. She had this spark about her. Funny, sharp, always the center of attention in a way that didn't feel forced. From the moment we started talking, I knew I wanted to be around her. We moved in together 2 years later, renting a flat just outside the city center. Life was simple back then: shared dinners, lazy Sundays, and endless conversations about the future. We saved every penny we could and finally scraped together enough to buy our first home. It was small, but it was ours. When Emily got pregnant with our son, Harry, everything changed. I started working overtime to make sure we had everything we needed, while Emily balanced being a new mom and working part-time. The days were long, but we made it work. A few years later, our daughter Lily arrived, and it felt like our family was complete. By then, Emily had landed a great job at a PR firm, and I had been promoted to sales manager. We were doing well, better than I ever thought we would. Our evenings were often spent helping the kids with homework or planning weekend trips. Sure, it wasn't glamorous, but it felt good. But over the last year or so, things shifted. Emily started staying late at the office, always rushing to finish some big campaign or meeting. I didn't think much of it at first. She'd always been ambitious, and I figured it was just the price of success. But then came the little things. The late-night texts she'd dismiss as just work, the way she seemed distracted even when she was home, the way she started dressing a little nicer for casual Fridays. I told myself I was imagining things. After all, we were both exhausted most of the time. Between work and the kids, there wasn't much energy left for romance. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. One evening, as I was putting Lily to bed, she said, "Mummy told me she might go on a trip soon." I frowned. "A family trip?" She shook her head. "No, just Mummy. She said it's for work." Emily hadn't mentioned any trip to me. That night, I sat on the couch, waiting for her to get home. When she walked in, she looked so tired that I couldn't bring myself to ask. Instead, I wrapped my arm around her and said, "You're working too hard." She gave me a soft smile and kissed my cheek. "I know," she whispered. At the time, I thought it was just another phase, one of those rough patches every couple goes through. Now looking back, I wonder how I didn't see it. I never thought Emily and I would end up shouting at each other. Not us. But that night, something broke, and I couldn't hold back anymore. Over the years, Emily and I had weathered everything together. Long nights with crying babies, stressful jobs, bills piling up. But lately, something was different. She wasn't the Emily I knew. She used to light up a room with her energy, but now it was like her light had dimmed. I noticed it in the little things first. She started staying late at work more often, brushing off my questions with, "It's just a big project." She spent more time on her phone, smiling at messages she wouldn't share. When she was home, she seemed distracted, like her mind was somewhere else. I tried to give her space. I figured it was just a rough patch, work stress, maybe even a midlife crisis. But the distance between us only grew. She barely had time for the kids, let alone me. Dinner conversations became one-sided, and our evenings together felt like a distant memory. One Friday, I decided to try something simple. I picked up a takeaway curry from her favorite place and planned a cozy night at home with the kids. When she walked in, she barely glanced at the table. "I can't, Alex," she said, already heading upstairs. "I've got a ton of emails to catch up on." "Emily," I called, my voice sharper than I intended. "We need to talk." She stopped, turning to face me with a tired expression. "Can it wait? I've had a long day." "No, it can't," I said firmly. "This isn't about emails or work. You've been distant for months. The kids miss you. I miss you. What's going on?" Her eyes narrowed. "I'm doing my best, Alex. Do you think I want to be like this? Do you think I enjoy being pulled in every direction?" I felt a surge of frustration. "I'm not asking for perfection, Emily. I'm asking for you. We're supposed to be in this together, but you're never here anymore. Not really." And just like that, it escalated. "You don't understand," she snapped. "You don't know what it's like to carry the weight I do. Maybe if you weren't so focused on playing the perfect dad, you'd notice. Her words stung, but I couldn't let it go. Playing the perfect dad? I'm holding this family together while you're... What? Hiding upstairs? Smiling at your phone like it's your lifeline. She turned bright red. You have no idea what you're talking about. She shot back before storming up the stairs and slamming the bedroom door. The house fell silent, except for the muffled sound of the TV in the living room. I sank into a chair, staring at the cold curry on the table. My chest felt heavy, my thoughts racing. Had I gone too far? Or had I finally said what needed to be said? When I went to check on the kids, Harry was pretending to read, but I could tell he'd heard everything. Lily, hugging her blanket, looked up at me with wide eyes. Is Mummy mad? She asked softly. No, love, I said, forcing a smile. She's just tired. But as I left her room, I couldn't shake the sinking feeling that something was slipping away, something I might not be able to get back. I never wanted to snoop, but when I found those receipts, everything I'd been trying to ignore came rushing to the surface. Something was wrong, and I couldn't pretend anymore. The days after the argument with Emily were tense. She avoided me as much as possible, burying herself in work or disappearing into the spare room with her laptop. I tried to act normal for the kids' sake, but the silence between us was deafening. One evening, while tidying up the dining table, I noticed a stack of papers she'd left behind. Among them were a few folded receipts. I thought they were from the supermarket or the kids' school lunches, but when I looked closer, I froze. The first receipt was from a boutique hotel in Manchester, dated 2 weeks ago. I remembered that night. She'd told me she was working late at the office. Another receipt was from a high-end restaurant I didn't recognize. The bill was steep, 2 main courses, wine, dessert. The date matched another night. She'd said she was in meetings. I stared at the receipts, my mind racing. Could there be an innocent explanation? Business dinners, maybe? But the dates, they didn't add up. When Emily came home that evening, I was waiting at the kitchen table, the receipts spread out in front of me. Her face tightened when she saw them. What's this? She asked, trying to sound casual, but her voice wavered. You tell me, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. She hesitated, then said, they're work expenses. Why are you going through my things? Work expenses? I repeated, holding up the restaurant receipt. This looks like more than just work. She sighed, crossing her arms. Alex, this is how business works. Clients expect to be entertained. That's all it is. Do you really think I'd betray you? Betray our family? Her words stung. I wanted to believe her, but something didn't sit right. Her tone was defensive, her explanation too polished. That night, I couldn't sleep. The receipt sat in my drawer like a weight on my chest. I replayed everything. The late nights, the phone she always kept close, the excuses. Was I imagining things, or was there something she wasn't telling me? The next morning, I suggested we spend the weekend together. Just us, I said. It's been a while. Emily hesitated, then shook her head. I can't. I've got too much on my plate right now. Of course, I said, forcing a smile. But inside, I felt the distance between us growing. I'd always thought our marriage was solid, but now I wasn't so sure. And those receipts, they were just the beginning. It's strange how life works sometimes. Running into Liam, after so many years, felt like fate stepping in. At the time, I had no idea just how complicated things would get. I hadn't seen Liam since we were teenagers. He'd been my best mate back then, the kind of friend who always had your back. But after school, he moved to Scotland, and we lost touch. Seeing him sitting in a pub near Piccadilly, nursing a pint, was the last thing I expected. Liam? I said, cautiously approaching him. He looked up, squinting before recognition lit up his face. Alex? Bloody hell, mate. Is that really you? We hugged, laughing at the sheer randomness of the moment, and soon we were catching up like no time had passed. But as the conversation drifted to the present, I noticed the cracks in his cheery facade. Liam had been through a rough patch. He'd recently been laid off, his marriage had fallen apart, and now he was struggling to get by. It's been tough, mate, he admitted, swirling the last bit of his pint. But, I'm managing. Hearing that, an idea began forming in my head. Liam didn't know Emily or anything about my life now. He was the perfect person to help me. Liam, I started, lowering my voice, I've got a bit of a personal situation, and I could really use your help. I'd pay you for it, of course. He raised an eyebrow. You've got my attention. What kind of situation are we talking about? I hesitated, then told him everything. Emily's late nights, the receipts, my suspicions. By the time I finished, Liam was staring at me with a mix of disbelief and pity. You want me to follow your wife? He asked, keeping his voice low. I know how it sounds, I said quickly, but I need someone I can trust, and I can't do it myself. She'd notice straight away. You though? She wouldn't have a clue. Liam leaned back, frowning. That's a lot to ask, mate. I get that, I said, but I'm desperate. And you said you could use the money, right? He hesitated, running a hand through his hair. Finally, he nodded. All right, I'll help you, but just for a few days, yeah? I'm not a bloody private detective. Deal, I said, relieved. The next morning, I gave Liam everything he needed. Emily's schedule, the places she went, even her car's registration number. He took it all in with a serious expression, then headed off to begin. For the first time in weeks, I felt like I was finally taking control of the situation. 2 days later, Liam rang me. She's meeting someone, he said. A bloke. Looks mid-30s, pretty sharp-looking. They've met twice so far, both times at posh places. I gripped the phone tighter. Do you have any proof? Photos. Not yet, he admitted. Didn't want to risk being seen. But I'll get something soon. His words left me uneasy. Something about the way he said it felt off. By the end of the week, Liam called again. She's seeing him regularly, Alex. They even met at a hotel last night. I felt my chest tighten. And you didn't follow them inside? I'm not that kind of guy, mate, he said defensively. I'm doing what I can, all right? I wanted to argue, but I held back. Just keep going. I need to know. Yeah, he said. I'll let you know what I find. But as I hung up, a new thought crept into my mind. Could I even trust Liam? Or was he hiding something from me too? I thought I was doing the right thing, trusting Liam. But with every vague update, every unanswered question, I started to wonder if I'd made a huge mistake. Was he helping me, or was there something else going on? Liam had been watching Emily for nearly a week now, but instead of clarity, I felt more lost than ever. His reports were short and inconsistent, leaving more questions than answers. She met the bloke again, he said during one of our calls. Same place, same kind of vibe. They didn't look like colleagues, if you know what I mean. Did you get any photos? I asked, gripping the phone tightly. Nah, couldn't get close enough without being seen, Liam replied. But I'm telling you, Alex, it doesn't look good. It wasn't enough. Words weren't enough. Liam, I need proof. You said you'd give me something concrete. I'm working on it. He snapped, sounding irritated. These things take time, mate. His tone didn't sit right with me, but I let it go, not wanting to push too hard. A couple of days later, Liam suggested we meet in person to discuss things. I drove to the same pub where we'd reconnected, my mind racing with possibilities. When I walked in, Liam was already there, sipping a pint and looking unusually tense. All right, I said, sitting down across from him. What V you got for me? He hesitated, then shrugged. More the same, really. She's meeting this guy regularly. Restaurants, hotels, you get the picture. That's it. I pressed. No photos, no recordings, nothing. Liam avoided my eyes. Look, Alex, I'm not a bloody professional. I'm doing the best I can. I leaned back, staring at him. Liam, if there's something you're not telling me, I need to know. He looked uncomfortable, running a hand through his hair. I told you everything, mate. It's just complicated, all right? His words set off alarm bells in my head. What was so complicated about following someone and taking a few photos? That night, as I lay in bed, the doubts consumed me. Was Liam stalling because he was in over his head? Or was it something worse? And then there was Emily. She lay beside me, her breathing steady, her face peaceful. But all I could see were the cracks forming between us. The next morning, I decided to push Liam harder. I called him 3 times before he finally answered. Busy, mate, he said curtly. I'll call you later. No, Liam. We need to talk now, I said firmly. He sighed. Fine. What is it? I don't feel like you're giving me the whole story, I said. What's really going on? There was a long pause before he answered. I'm doing my best, Alex. If that's not good enough, maybe you should hire someone else. His defensiveness hit me like a slap. This was the same Liam who'd once jumped into a fight to defend me, the same Liam who'd been my closest mate. Now he sounded like a stranger. That evening, I decided to take matters into my own hands. Emily told me she was working late again, so I got in my car and parked near the restaurant where Liam had said she'd been meeting this man. I waited for over an hour, watching every couple that walked in and out. When she finally appeared, my heart sank. She was with someone, a tall, sharp-dressed man with an easy smile. They were laughing as they walked into the restaurant together. I stayed in the car, frozen, my hands gripping the steering wheel. Liam had been right. But as I sat there, another thought crossed my mind. Why hadn't Liam told me about this particular meeting? Everything felt like it was closing in. Liam's vague responses, Emily's secrecy. It was all starting to unravel. And then I overheard that phone call. I hadn't seen Liam since our tense meeting at the pub. His evasiveness and excuses were wearing thin, and I couldn't shake the feeling that he was hiding something. I sent him a message. We need to talk. Tonight. It took hours for him to reply. When he finally did, it was curt. All right. Usual spot. When I arrived, Liam was already there, nursing a pint and looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. Evening, I said, sitting across from him. He glanced at me, but didn't say much. Liam, what's going on? I pressed. You've been avoiding me, and your updates don't add up. If you got something to say, just say it. He sighed, setting his drink down. Look, Alex, I told you what I've seen. She's meeting some bloke. Nice suit, bit of a charmer. What else do you want me to say? I want proof, I said, leaning forward. Not just stories. Photos, something tangible. Liam shook his head, avoiding my gaze. This isn't a bloody spy film, mate. I'm not going to get caught snapping pictures like some amateur. Then what's the point of this? I shot back. You're not helping me, Liam. Do you think this is easy for me? He snapped. I'm doing this for you, Alex. But if you don't trust me, maybe you should find someone else. His words hit harder than I expected. I sat back, unsure of how to respond. After an awkward silence, Liam stood up. I gotta go. He walked out, leaving me alone in the pub, more suspicious than ever. When I got home, the house was quiet. Emily was in the kitchen, speaking softly into her phone. I paused by the stairs, pretending to check my own phone. Her voice was low, but I caught fragments of the conversation. I know, she said, sounding nervous. He's starting to notice. No, don't worry. I'll take care of it. I froze, my heart pounding. Tomorrow night? She added. Yes, same place. She hung up quickly, and I hurried up the stairs, my mind racing. Who was she talking to? Was it the man Liam had mentioned? I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the floor. Every instinct told me to confront her, to demand answers. But I knew better. If she was lying, she'd twist it. I needed more proof. The next morning, Emily left early, saying she had a busy day at work. I sent Liam a message. Follow her tonight. I want details. Everything. His reply came later. Fine. But something about the way he was acting felt wrong. My trust in him was slipping away. That night, I waited. Liam didn't call, didn't text. I rang him, but it went to voicemail. Emily came home late, looking as calm as ever. Long day, she said with a smile, dropping her bag by the door. Yeah, I said, forcing a smile of my own. Same here. Inside, I was falling apart. Liam's silence had been gnawing at me for days. His half-hearted texts and vague updates didn't add up. Something wasn't right, and I had to find out what. That evening, I parked near the pub he always went to and waited. After nearly an hour, he walked out. But he wasn't alone. Emily was with him. I froze as I watched them. They didn't see me as they strolled down the street, talking quietly. Liam leaned in slightly, his hand brushing her arm, and I felt a rush of anger boil up inside me. They stopped at a cafe. From where I sat in my car, I couldn't hear their conversation, but their body language told me everything I needed to know. The way Liam looked at her, it wasn't innocent. After about an hour, Emily left, but instead of heading home, she went towards a hotel. I followed her, keeping a safe distance. She walked into the lobby, and a man approached her. He was tall, well-dressed, and looked exactly like the bloke Liam had described in his earlier updates. They didn't linger. After a brief exchange, they headed straight for the lifts. I stayed in my car, my thoughts racing. Confronting her now would have been reckless, but the images of them together burned into my mind. When Emily returned home later that night, I was waiting in the kitchen. Busy day? I asked as she walked in. She hesitated. Yeah, loads of meetings. Meetings, I said, leaning back against the counter. At a hotel? Her face went pale. What? Don't lie, Emily. I followed you tonight. I saw you with him. And earlier, with Liam. What's going on? She looked like she wanted to deny it, but after a long silence, she sighed. All right. Yes, I've been seeing someone. Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. And Liam? What's his role in this? He's not involved, she said quickly. Don't lie to me, I snapped. I saw the way he looked at you. You think I'm blind? Her expression shifted to anger. Maybe if you hadn't been so distant, I wouldn't have needed anyone else. Her words stung more than I wanted to admit. I didn't say another word. I grabbed my keys and stormed out. I ended up at a pub, drowning myself in pint after pint. The betrayal from both of them, the two people I trusted most, was too much to handle. When I finally stumbled to my car, I knew I shouldn't drive. But I didn't care. I needed to get away. The engine roared as I sped down the road. The city lights blurred into streaks as my hands clenched the wheel, and my mind swirled with rage and pain. I didn't know where I was going. For the first time, I didn't care if I got there. The car skidded off the road, spinning out of control before slamming into a ditch. Metal crunched and groaned, and the engine hissed as steam rose from the hood. I sat there, gripping the wheel, my breath shallow and ragged. My head was pounding, my chest aching from the seatbelt's pull, but I was alive. I stumbled out into the cool night air. The front of the car was wrecked, mangled beyond recognition. I stared at it, my hands trembling. What was I doing? What had I become? Headlights appeared in the distance. A police car pulled up, and an officer stepped out, shining a torch on me. You all right, sir? He asked, his tone wary. I nodded weakly. Yeah, I'm fine. He had me carefully. You've been drinking, haven't you? I didn't deny it. Yeah. The officer sighed, lowering his torch. Call a tow truck. Get this sorted. You're lucky you didn't kill yourself. Or someone else. Don't let me see you like this again. His words stung more than they should have. He left me there, and I called for a tow. His warning echoed in my mind. Don't push your luck again. When I got home, it was well past 3 a.m. The house was dark and silent. I stood in the bedroom doorway, staring at Emily as she slept. Her face looked calm, serene, like someone without a care in the world. But I knew the truth now. I knew about Ryan, and I knew about the other man. I couldn't let it go. The next morning, after Emily left, I picked up my phone and called Ryan. Meet me at the docks tonight, I said, my tone icy. What's this about? He asked, hesitation clear in his voice. You'll find out, I said before hanging up. My next call was to the hotel where Emily had been the night before. I asked for the man she'd met, and after a moment, he answered. Who's this? He asked sharply. Alex, Emily's husband, I replied. Meet me at the docks tonight. There was a long pause before he finally said, fine. That evening, I arrived at the docks early. The warehouse was cold and dark, a perfect place for what I had in mind. Ryan arrived first, looking nervous. Alex, what's going on? Before I could respond, the other man pulled up. He stepped out of his car, his smirk infuriating. Didn't expect this, he said, his voice dripping with arrogance. I didn't waste time. My fist connected with his jaw before he could finish his thought. He stumbled back, cursing, but I grabbed him by the collar and slammed him against the car. You think you can screw with me? I growled, my knuckles throbbing from the impact. Ryan tried to intervene, grabbing my arm. Alex, stop this. I turned on him, shoving him hard. You're no better. You betrayed me too. Just calm down, Ryan shouted. I ignored him, throwing another punch before stepping back, my chest heaving. The two of them stood there, bruised and shaken. This isn't over, I said through gritted teeth. Not even close. I walked away, my fists clenched, my anger burning brighter than ever. The silence after the fight was suffocating. My knuckles throbbed, and my mind raced. I'd left Liam and the other man at the docks, bruised and shaken, but instead of feeling victorious, I felt empty. Driving home, I couldn't stop thinking. What's left of my life now? When I walked into the house, Emily was sitting in the living room, arms folded, her eyes red and puffy. You've been gone all night, she said quietly. I closed the door behind me, the weight of the evening pressing on my chest. We need to talk. She shook her head, avoiding my gaze. I can't do this now. You don't have a choice, I snapped, because I'm done ignoring it. We're talking about this now. She stood, her hands trembling slightly. What do you want, Alex? An apology? You want me to say I'm sorry? No, I said, my voice cold. I want the truth. I want to know why. Why Liam? Why him? Why any of it? Her bitter laugh cut through me like a knife. Why? Because I don't love you anymore. Maybe I never did. Her words hit me harder than any punch I'd thrown that night. You don't mean that? Yes, I do, she said firmly, her voice steady now. You think you've been perfect? You're cold, distant, always working, never here. I felt alone for years, Alex. Years. So you cheated? I said, my voice shaking with anger. You lied to me? You threw away everything we had. I found someone who made me feel alive again, she shot back. And maybe it was wrong, but don't act like you're innocent in this. I sank into the nearest chair, the weight of her words crushing me. You could have just left. Her arms folded tightly over her chest, her expression flickering between anger and regret. Maybe I should have. The silence that followed felt heavier than the fight at the docks. Finally, I stood up. This is it then, I said quietly. We're done. She didn't argue. She didn't try to stop me. I'll be gone tomorrow morning, I said. You can have the house. I don't want anything from you. Her lips parted as if to say something, but she stopped herself. I walked out of the room without another word. Before I could leave for good, there was one last thing I needed to do. I called the man Emily had been seeing, arranging to meet him. Surprisingly, he agreed. We met at a cafe the next day. He looked smug, leaning back in his chair as I sat across from him. I'm not here to fight, I said flatly. His smirk didn't waver. Then why are you here? To tell you one thing, I said. She's yours, but don't think it means anything. She'll get tired of you, just like she got tired of me. And when she does, you'll see what it's like. His smirk faltered for a moment. Maybe, he said, regaining his composure. But for now, I'm the one she wants. I laughed bitterly. Yeah, for now. I left without another word. That night, I packed a bag, just the essentials. I left my keys on the counter, stepped outside, and closed the door on everything behind me. The cold night air hit me, and for the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe again. The road stretched endlessly ahead, the tires humming against the pavement as I drove away from everything that had defined my life until now. The house, the memories, the betrayal, they were all in the rearview mirror. With each mile, it felt like I was shedding layers of something heavy and suffocating. But the truth was, I didn't have a plan. I didn't know where I was going, only that it had to be somewhere far from here. A couple of hours later, I pulled into a service station on the edge of the city. The neon lights flickered against the dark sky as I stepped out to fill the tank. The air was cold, biting in my skin, but it felt refreshing after everything. While the pump clicked steadily, I pulled out my phone for the first time that day. 2 notifications stared back at me, one from Emily and one from Liam. I opened Emily's message first. Alex, I don't even know where to start. I've ruined everything. Us, my life, everything. Liam left me. He saw through me, realized who I really am, and he walked out. And the other man? He only wanted my money. He's gone too. I have no one now. Please, Alex. Please come back. I'll change. I'll do anything. Just don't leave me like this. I read it again and again. The words blurred together as I tried to process them. Part of me expected to feel vindicated, triumphant even, but all I felt was emptiness. Her regret didn't undo the damage, and her promises felt hollow. I didn't reply. Liam's message was next. Alex, I know I'm probably the last person you want to hear from, but I need to say this. I'm sorry. I thought I loved her, but I didn't see what she really was until it was too late. She used me, Alex, just like she used you. And in the process, I destroyed the best friendship I ever had. I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I hope someday you can find peace. You deserve it. His words stung in a way Emily's hadn't. I hated him for what he'd done, but for the first time, I realized I didn't hate him completely. His apology, though late, felt genuine. The pump clicked off, signaling the tank was full. I put the phone away, my hand steady for the first time in what felt like months. Liam was out of my life. Emily was too. And, strangely, I was okay with that. I kept driving. The city lights faded behind me, replaced by open fields and the endless stretch of the motorway. The memories came in waves, unrelenting. The first days with Emily, the laughter, the love we once shared. Then the slow unraveling of everything, the betrayal, the anger, and the fight at the docks. But as the miles passed, those memories started to feel less like fresh wounds and more like old scars. Hours later, I stopped at a small roadside cafe. The place was quiet, with the faint hum of a radio playing in the background. I ordered a coffee and sat near the window, watching the horizon stretch out endlessly before me. For the first time in years, I felt still, peaceful even. I didn't know where the road ahead would take me, but for now, that was okay. I didn't need answers. All I needed was this moment, a pause in the chaos. As I sipped my coffee, I thought of Liam's words. I hope someday you can find peace. Maybe, just maybe I already had,